The unshaken optimism. Mary's role in the faith crisis of St. Francis de Sales. My dear friends, today we reflect on a moment that changed the course of a saint's life, the role of Mary in the faith crisis of St. Francis de Sales. Francis, born in 1567, was a gifted young man from a noble family. His brilliant education in Paris and Padua exposed him to the burning debates of the Reformation. Yet, in that environment, Francis was not left unshaken. He faced a terrifying struggle, one that brought him close to despair. The first point for reflection today, the crisis of faith. The issue was the doctrine of predestination. Could it be that God had already decided who would be saved and who would be damned? Francis wrestled with the possibility that he might be condemned, no matter how virtuous his life. For 6 agonizing weeks, he was haunted by fear. A friend described him as crying day and night with sobs increasing daily. At times, he felt frozen with dread, convinced he might be rejected by God forever. This crisis nearly broke him, and yet, as we will see, grace had already prepared a way of healing. The second point for reflection, Mary's intervention, the mother of deliverance. Where did Francis turn in his despair? To prayer. He often visited the chapel of Notre Dame de Bonne Deliverance in Paris, and there, in January 1587, everything changed. One day, kneeling before the statue of the Black Madonna, Francis surrendered completely to God. If I am to love you in heaven, so be it. If in hell, then even there I will love you, says St. Francis says. At that moment, he saw a tablet with the prayer we know so well, the Memorare, remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary. He prayed it from his heart, and instantly the chains of fear fell away. St. Jain Chanda later testified, he felt healed at once, as if his troubles fell off like scales. The turning point. Filled with gratitude, Francis made a vow of virginity, dedicated himself to Mary, and promised to pray the rosary daily. From that day forward, his devotion to Mary became the cornerstone of his life and teaching. The third point for our reflection today, Mary in Salesian Spirituality, the cornerstone. What did Francis learn through this? That Mary is not only a comfort in crisis, but the model of a holy life. She became for him the mother, model, and mediatrix of Salesian spirituality. Virtues of Mary in Salesian thought. Let us recall the virtues Francis saw in her. First, humility. In her faith, Mary shows us how to recognize both our gifts and our weaknesses before God. Secondly, obedience. Her joyful surrender at the Annunciation and her steadfastness at the cross teach us trustful obedience. Thirdly, charity. She lived for others at Elizabeth's house, at Cana, at Calvary. Gentleness. Mary's quiet strength became a model for Francis's own gentleness, which softened even hardened hearts. Fifthly, simplicity. Her hidden life at Nazareth sanctifies ordinary daily tasks. Sixthly, faith and hope. She trusted in God's promises even in her darkest hour. Seventh, she pondered all things in her heart and teaches us to live in constant dialogue with God. Eighth, the little virtues, patience, kindness, humility, the everyday holiness that Francis insisted was within everyone's reach. Francis also affirmed Mary's unique place in God's plan as Mother of God, Immaculate, assumed into heaven, and mediatrix of grace. She always leads us to her Son, never replacing him, but strengthening our yes to him. Her words at Cana sum up Salesian spirituality. Do whatever he tells you. The fourth point for our reflection today, living Mary's virtues today. My friends, the crisis of Francis de Sales is not just history. We too face doubts, fears, and struggles that shake our faith. And like him, we can turn to Mary. How? Let me suggest some practical steps. First of all, pray the Rosary daily. It unites us with Mary as she contemplates Christ. Secondly, read scripture with her eyes, especially the Gospels that highlight her presence. Thirdly, imitate her virtues, humility, faith, courage, charity. Fourthly, entrust yourself to her care. She is a mother who never abandons her children. Fifthly, seek her intercession in trials. She knows how to lead us back to peace. Sixth, live the little virtues in kindness, patience, and simplicity. Seventh, make prayer and the sacraments central, as Mary did, always centering life on Christ. The fifth point for our reflection today, Mary's yes speaks today. Mary's yes at the Annunciation still speaks today. It calls us to, first of all, surrender, trusting God's plan beyond our own control. Secondly, humility, recognizing all is grace. Thirdly, faith, believing even when the road is dark. Fourthly, courage, standing firm in trials. Fifthly, love, making love the root of every choice. To conclude, trust and live Jesus. The faith crisis of Francis de Sales nearly crushed him, but through Mary, he discovered God's mercy, not wrath. He learned that despair is never the last word. Hope, gentleness, and love are. For him, Mary was the star of hope, the mother who led him to Christ. For us, she is the same today. Let us imitate her virtues, trust her intercession, and make our lives echo her words. Do whatever he tells you. And so, my dear friends, may we, like St. Francis de Sales, live with unshaken optimism, walking with Mary, and always keeping before us the Salesian motto, Live Jesus.